Hi there, my name is Sarah Cunnington. Welcome to Drawn from the Word. How do we get through the pain of grief and loss? There's no easy way, especially for those without faith in Jesus Christ. But for those with faith, it is another matter. As we look to Jesus and remember that we have the promise of being reunited with our loved ones in Him and with Him. Today I want to briefly look at this subject from the perspective of Jesus' own mother, Mary. John 16:22 says this, "Now is your time of grief, but I will see you again, and you will rejoice, and no one will take away your joy." These were Jesus' words to his disciples. But thinking of Mary, one of the worst things a parent can experience is the suffering and death of their child. Yet, despite her grief and anguish, Mary could not stop herself from being present to witness the excruciating final hours of her son Jesus. It was while she stood at the foot of the cross that Jesus himself asked his dearly loved disciple John to care for her. How important it is that we are surrounded and supported by those who love us, who share and understand our sorrow. But still, that was little consolation as he watched her son's beaten and bloodied body hanging there, and then dying there, an agonizing death. Such images often seem to be seared on our inner eye, almost impossible to erase. We have only to think of the fate of Zedekiah, the very last king of Jerusalem. His sons were killed before his eyes. Then he was blinded, bound with bronze shackles, and taken to Babylon, where he would die. He would have suffered the terrible mental torture of watching his sons die for the rest of his days. The image was seared forever on his mind's eye. Not so with Mary, because she would know the joy of seeing Jesus rise again, and even, I like to think, watching him ascend to heaven. I believe that we too will have the joy of seeing those we love, those who have died in the Lord. I have faith in Jesus for that. We will see them again. And in Hebrews 12:2, we are exhorted to keep fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of our faith. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. For the joy set before him. So what exactly was that joy? Well, it was so much more than, I've got to get through this ordeal and then I'll be raised to life and get back to heaven away from all this pain and suffering. No, his joy was knowing that in being obedient to his Father and dying on the cross, both sin and death would be overcome forever. What is more, his joy was also due to his knowledge that we would be able to join him in heaven and be with him forever in glory. Yes, he will see us and we will see him. As Paul says in 1 Corinthians 13, verse 12, "For now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then I shall know even as I am known. It's all about the amazing love that Jesus has for each one of us. He loved us so much that he left his glory for us. He loved us enough to be born in that filthy stable for us. He loved us so much that he submitted to being mocked and beaten and spat on for us. Finally, he loved us so much that he died on that terrible cross for us. We must never forget the price that Jesus paid for us. Never try and erase that terrible image of Jesus on the cross. However, we must also hold fast to what lay beyond the cross. Just as Jesus fixed his eyes on the joy that was set before him, we must do so too. We must keep our eyes fixed on his resurrection, his glory restored, and the glory that we will share with him. This was and is Jesus' joy, and is and will be ours, because we can be with him forever. His resurrection gives us eternal life too. Thank you for listening. Join me again next Friday, and in the meantime, be blessed. Bye-bye.